So we've already discussed and we've talked about the zodiac signs. We've talked about the planets, right? And we talked about the elements. We talked about the shadow in itself naturally. We talked about how the shadow is made. So all of that is being put together because the more we learn about astrology in our charts, the easier it is for us to be able to see that shadow, to be able to point out those particular things, events, or even being able to see some blockages that could be there that could be hindering your growth, some things that you have to specifically work through. You can also see things like past lives, karmic lessons, and like I said, certain blockages that are purposely in your life that you have to learn for the need of the advancement of your soul. So we're going to get into talking about the houses, and this is a good one because what you learn about astrology, as I'm sure you've seen already, is that it's all really interconnected, and it's mostly a language it's a language of knowing how to interpret the soul. So the more you pick up on it and the more you do that reflective work, right? All right. So in doing that, the better you will, or the more peace you'll be able to find within yourself, within your life, being able to actively direct and guide your life and not just allowing life to happen to you. So when we're talking about the houses, right now, the planets reveal the what's of the chart, right? The what specifically saying, what energy is at work, right? Now, all of the planets reflect the light of the sun. So the principle of vitality in the natal chart is represented in the sun. So it's a reflection of your sun, your soul, your solar energy, solar power, which powers the sun in the sky. So it's just like the black sun or the hidden sun, which is the true sun. So it's the law of correspondence, the reflection of the macro and the micro, which is you. And if you're here, while you're considering that you're able to see this whole video in totality, I would highly recommend that you also check out the breakdowns of the Hermetic principles, which includes the law of correspondence. All right, so your hidden sun, right, it's like your sleeping soul, or the hidden soul that is tucked away in the shadow. So your sun sign is your vital line to your soul. So it's often the easiest expressed energy in the way of perception for the ego, which is your false sense of self, because you believe to be your ego self. So my ego self is Rakia. So that in itself is my ego. I'm not just that though, but it's so easy to identify with this, with the Rakia. So my sun sign being Virgo, right? That would mean that it's the easiest form of expression of energy for my soul. That's basically what that's saying. So the sun being the false self, your ego is highlighted in your sun sign. So remember that your ego creates the shadow because it controls your perception. So you must address that version of yourself in your alchemy, in your shadow work, because the shadow work is you integrating with the shadow. Remember, you don't kill off the shadow, the ego completely, and you don't want to destroy the shadow self either. Okay, so you're integrating. You have to bring the two together under, the highest form of yourself. All right. So just remember that it's the ego that creates the shadow. So your shadow work, like I said, it isn't about the shadow itself, but about bringing your true self out of that shadow. See, in traditional personality centered esoteric astrology, the sun is the center.